Good morning Year 1, it's Monday today and we are on week 4 of our learning now. So I hope you've had a lovely weekend, and if you've got the Year 2 booklet for Comprehension, you are in the right place. You might notice today that when you were looking for the video, or your parents were looking for the video for you, that the video for the Year 2 booklet is now separate to the other video, okay? And that's because the videos were getting really long and we want to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to complete your learning. So this week, if you've got the Year 2 Comprehension book, all of your work will be with me. So every day you need to look for me. How lucky are you? So let's start then with our comprehension for today. You are going to be working on pages 18 and 19 in your comprehension booklet, but you won't need it just yet, because what we're going to do first is we're going to have a look at our learning question, okay? And our learning question for today says, can I read and answer questions from a piece of text? Now in our comprehension book, we've been doing that a lot, haven't we? We've been using our, what are the skills? It begins with the You're right, our retrieval skills. And that's where we investigate in the text. So we read the text really carefully and we investigate for those key words that will help us to pick out the pieces of information that we need from the text. Okay? So today we have got a text and it's called On the Farm. Now what we are going to do before we begin is we're going to read the text together. Okay, so I would like you to get your book and make sure it's on page 18, On the Farm. So you can go along with yours, copy each word with your finger, and I'm going to read. Okay? Farms are always really busy, and this one is no exception. Andy has already milked the cow and he's about to start digging up the cabbages. He's wearing black boots and blue overalls so that his clothes don't get too muddy. Josh's hat is orange. He's picking strawberries and putting them carefully into a yellow bowl. He is only picking big, juicy red ones. The smaller green ones aren't ripe yet. Susan is wearing purple overalls with a green pocket. She is feeding the animals. Rachel has got red boots on so that she doesn't get dirty in the mud. She's going to collect eggs from the hens and put them in her blue basket. What a busy morning. Super job. So the first time you read your text when you are using retrieval, you are just going to read it to make sure that you can decode all of the words, so you can chop them up and blend them together before you start to think about understanding it. So the first time you read it is just to familiarise yourself with the text, okay? Then you're going to read it again and you're going to then circle any vocabulary that you do not know or that you think I'm unsure of. So remember, the first time you read it is just to familiarise yourself and to make sure you can read all of those words correctly. Because if we can't read them, we can't understand them. Then the second time you read it, we're going to look for that vocab. So, I've had a look and I have chosen some vocabulary today in the text that I wasn't sure of. Let's see if you've got the same words as me when you've read and you've circled. So pause the video now, read that text for a second time and circle any words that you're unsure of. And then once you've done that, let's see if you've got any that I've got. I think you will, and I think that this will help you. So let's have a look. So the first word that I noticed in the text that I was a bit unsure of was the word exception. The word exception, okay? And this means not included, okay? So if you are the exception to the rule, that means you're not included in the rules. That means that you don't have to follow the rule, okay? The next word is overalls. And I didn't know what an overall was, so I thought I'd use my dictionary to see what an overall was. And it told me that an overall is a protective clothes. And it's also normally a one piece, so it's like a suit, a little bit like a snowsuit, but instead it's going to protect you, okay? And normally farmers have them and they zip them up, and they're normally waterproof as well. So when they're out on the farm, they don't get any mud or dirt on their clothes, they just get it on their overall, okay? The third word in my vocab that I was not sure of was the word ripe. Now the word ripe means ready for harvest or eating. And then when I read the definition, so when I knew what the word meant, that helped me to understand the text. Because I now know that one of the people on the farm was only picking the strawberries that were ripe, and now I know that they were picking the strawberries that were ready for eating. Okay? And then the last word was collect. Okay, so to collect something is to bring or to gather items. So if I go to the shop to collect my shopping, I am gathering my items. Okay, so these 4 words you will notice in the text, and I think you might have got some when you circle looking for your vocab. So moving on then, we've read the text once now to familiarise ourselves. We've read the text twice to have a look at that vocab, and now we're going to read it a 3rd time. And this time you're going to look for any key information you think you might need. And sometimes it helps to look at the questions as well when you do this, to see what kind of questions you are going to have. So we're going to have a look at the type of questions that we are going to be looking at today. So we can see that we've got a few different questions here. We've got a table. Okay, and in our table we've got some key words, and we've also got some different names. So I know now that when I read my text for my final time, to make sure I'm picking out all that information, I am going to look for these names in the text, and I might underline them or highlight them to help me. And then we've got some questions which we are normally used to seeing in our comprehension booklet, and that's what, why, okay? So they're those W questions that we always get. So I can look and see if there's anything that I need to circle. There's our word carefully. So maybe I could find that in the text. So this is where you use the questions to find that key information, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that before you go on to today's activity. So I've chosen one of the questions from the text, okay? And my question I've chosen is question number 2. And it says, what is Andy going to do next? So I knew straight away that I needed to find the sentence which was all about Andy. So I went back to my text and I found the sentence about what Andy was doing. So I'm going to read this now to see, so I know what Andy was doing. Andy has already milked the cow. So that means that is done because he's already done it. Okay, so he's already milked the cow, it's done. And he's about to start digging up the cabbages. So going back to my question, what is Andy going to do next? So this keyword here, already, tells me that Andy has already milked the cow. So he's done that. So that means he must have done that first. So that's already done, which then helps me to understand that the next thing must be what he's going to do next. So let's read to check. So Andy has already milked the cow and he's about He's about to start. So there's my next piece of information. He's about to start digging up the cabbages. So he hasn't yet started. He's going to, isn't he? About to start means he's going to do it. So if he's already milked the cow, I know that that's number one. So he did that first, which must mean that he's about to start digging up the cabbages is what he's going to do next. So let's put that in an answer. What is Andy going to do next? Thinking about our super sentences, thinking about how we answer those comprehension questions. Let's think about that answer. So Andy is going to dig up the cabbages. So what is Andy going to do next? Andy is going to dig up the cabbages. Okay, let's write that together. And I know that I'm going to spell Andy correctly because I've got my text and my question to help me. Andy is going to dig up the cabbages. Let me find this in my text to make sure I spell it right. Where is it? It's here, so I'm going to make sure that I'm spelling it correctly. Cabbages, full stop. So I've used a full sentence to answer my question. Andy is going to dig up the cabbages. So I've used my text. I've made sure that I'm correct thinking about what my words mean in my question, and I know that I've answered it with a full sentence, okay? So in your book today, you've got 6 questions to complete, okay? Once you've done those using the techniques that we have discussed, you have got a challenge of the day. And Miss James's challenge of the day is a question. And I would like you to write the answer down for me in as much detail as you can. And my question is, would you like to live and work on a farm? Why? So you've got to tell me if you would like to live there or work there, but not only yes or no, why? So what are your reasons? And I would love to know them. So have a good go today. Remember, you're working in the Year 2 Comprehension booklet on pages 18 and 19. Don't forget to send your work to the Year 1 email. Have a lovely day.